Claude has a little bit of an attitude.
Let's just start a new chat.
Wait, am I talking to Claude or Cursor? Who are these people? What? How did it do that? It's crazy.
This is my wife, Kay, and she wants to try coding. So we're going to actually build an app, and I wanted to show her Cursor because previously she's actually tried coding when I got her set up with ChatGPT, and you made some good progress. Mm-hmm. But I think once we got, into a number of different files, it just started getting really confusing and copy pasting code back and forth. So I think Cursor might be an easier way for you to get started. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, the app you want to build? Okay, let's pause for a second because a lot of people will tell you that anybody can code nowadays and that you don't need previous coding or engineering experience to build great apps anymore. So I figured I could show my wife Kay how she could build an application using Cursor. And it revealed just how much knowledge I take for granted as an experienced developer. She asked a lot of really great questions about things like environmental variables and packages, APIs, all of this stuff that I just know how to handle, but somebody new to development isn't going to know. So this video ended up being a very realistic view of somebody that doesn't know coding trying to build something. And even with the help of AI, it ends up being relatively difficult. But let's go ahead and hear what she's going to build.
I want to build an app to make worksheets for our kids.
All right.
To practice their reading comprehension.
Okay, cool. And so what do you imagine this app having? Like, how does it work?
Well, you just go to the app and you would type in what you want the prompt to be about or the reading comprehension paragraph. Mm-hmm. And you would type in, I guess, the grade level and the topic maybe.
Okay.
And then the magical AI would create the worksheet.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and get started. And right here you got Cursor. And it's kind of like VS Code, which I know you've tried in the past, but AI is actually built into this tool. So you don't have to go flip back and forth between ChatGPT and this. It's all in one place.
I thought this literally was VS Code. This is Cursor?
Yeah, this is Cursor.
Oh my God, exactly like VS Code.
Yeah. Okay, so to open the chat, you're going to press Control L.
Control L?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So on the right, you see a chat, and this is basically like ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. So you can ask anything in here. Mm-hmm. Usually I will ask it to write specific code. But in your case, like you're getting started on a brand new project. So you might just describe what you're trying to accomplish and tell it a little bit about what you know and don't know and just see where it goes. You got an empty project right now. So.
Okay. Hi. I'm new to coding, and I would like to start an app that creates worksheets for kids. We should be able to specify the grade level and the topic covered. I mean, that's honestly where I would stop.
No, so this looks okay. I think it would be a fine way to start the conversation, but I like to try to be a little bit more specific. I would almost have like a bulleted list of requirements. Like I want it to generate a passage for me using AI, right? Like right now we haven't mentioned AI in here at all.
But I'm talking to AI.
We're using AI to build an AI-powered app, and I know it sounds...
So I have to tell the AI to use its AI.
Well, we're not going to use this AI.
We're going to use different AI.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it may be a little confusing because we're building an AI-powered app using an AI-powered app. But it's just a tool. You know what I mean? It's like if you make a sword out of metal using a metal hammer, like it doesn't matter that they're both made of metal.
Right. Okay. So that makes sense.
Think of it almost like you're talking to a developer. Mm-hmm. Like you're talking to a guy who's going to build the app for you.
Yeah.
What do you want him to do? You know what I mean? Let's reform this prompt to make it a little bit more specific and have a bullet point list in what we're expecting this app to do and how we expect it to function. So based on our conversations, I know that you want to tell it, we want an AI to generate a passage and questions. Right, let's start with that. Also we should specify React and Node.js. I think this is going to be fine. Let's go ahead. Let's submit it and see what happens. All right, so here it's actually explaining some things for you. Okay, hey, look, it already wrote some code for you. Here's how you might set up your React front end. So what are your thoughts? What's your first reaction, seeing all this code?
Kind of overwhelmed, I guess.
Okay.
Like I feel like I need to read all of it, you know what I mean? Because I'm not really sure what to do with the code it's giving me. So I feel like I don't know where to put it either.
Okay.
What do I do next?
So that's a great question, right? Let's ask that follow-up question. This code looks great, but what do I do with it?
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
Okay. Set up your development environment, install Node.js. Okay. So I'll give you a little tip. It's telling you to run these commands, right? But where do you run them? Well, you got to run them in the terminal. And so you go up here, new terminal. Now we are executing commands on this computer that are going to do certain things. So let's just create a folder here, call it server.
Okay.
And then let's create another folder called UI. Now let's go ahead and go to the UI folder. So
just
type
CD,
in
no
cd space
Ooh, it turned yellow.
/ Now go ahead and initialize your React project. So you can copy that command right there and run it in the terminal.
So I initialize it by typing it into this terminal.
Yeah.
And pushing
Yeah.
enter.
When you press enter, it runs the command.
Okay, npx.
You can just copy it. But okay.
React.app.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Enter.
All right.
Nothing happened. Name can no longer contain capital letters.
Sorry, babe.
Well, how am I supposed to know that it doesn't like uppercase letters?
Okay.
Why doesn't
Okay. Let's
no
just
JS or no cursor not like capital
all
letters?
right. That's fair. Okay.
Why?
There. Let's try it
Why
again.
not? And why didn't it tell me that up there? Okay, so now I'm gonna do this again. npx.
You can just press the up arrow. That's gonna just press up. See, it just goes through the commands.
Cool. That's
now
really
you can
cool.
press enter. All right.
Enhance.
So right now what it's doing is it's setting up your React project. So it's going to put a bunch of different files together, and then there's going to be sort of a main file called app.js.
It says it's installing stuff, which is kind of like, whoa. Installing stuff on my computer.
Well, let's just create React app.
It's installing packages.
I mean, you could theoretically install bad stuff, so you should be careful with that command, but create React app is trustworthy.
Okay.
Okay, now that you got the project set up, you can run here, and it says it over here, npm start. All right, so you got a super basic, the default React UI here.
Looks like a broken website.
And right here, you see it says localhost. That just means your computer. So it's just running this app on your computer. Now let's go ahead and let's see. Does it tell us about initializing the server side of things? Set up your development environment. Yep. Okay. Create your project. Initialize your React project. Replace the contents of app.js with the React code I provided earlier. Okay, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Wait. Replace the contents of src app.js with the React code I provided earlier.
Yeah.
What's the contents of src app.js?
Okay, so if you go on the left there, you see your UI folder?
Yes.
Okay, open that. src app.js.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
Ooh.
Cool.
Okay.
There's
already some code there.
Yeah, that's the code that you see running in the browser when you go to the browser.
Okay,
this is the code
summoned
that's running.
into thin air.
Yeah, we created this when we ran the create React app.
When it was downloading stuff?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so now you can replace these contents with the React code that Cursor provided earlier.
So I have to scroll up to this thing?
Yep.
Which one? The
There you
top
go.
one?
Yes. You can just click that copy button right there.
Whoa, it's kind of hiding from me.
Yeah.
There we go. And then just replace all of it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Now
Okay.
let's just flip back to the browser. I'm curious to see what that looks like.
Ooh,
Okay.
cool. That's always so exciting, that part. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Awesome. All right, well, we're getting started.
Yeah.
Okay, so
look at that.
let's go back and let's make sure that our server is set up, and then we're gonna make this look super nice.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll show you how to make it look really nice.
Okay.
All right, so go back to Cursor. All right, let's scroll down.
This is when I get excited about the coding.
Okay, so let's keep going down these steps, right?
Mhm.
So number 5, for the backend, you have 2 options. For local development, create a new file. For Cloudflare deployment, okay, create this other stuff. Let's just make this work on your computer first.
Okay.
And then we'll worry about the Cloudflare thing. Because
Okay.
basically what it's saying is, you know, to get it deployed up in the cloud, like you're going to need some changes to your code.
Mhm.
So for now, we're just going to make it run on your computer. So we're going to go over to this to the server. We're going to let's open up a new terminal. Okay, so here
Mhm.
in this terminal window, you got the React app running. If you close this, React will shut down.
Oh, okay.
That app is going to shut down.
Okay.
So here we can do whatever we want. So let's cd to the server.
CD the server.
/server. Enter.
Oh, right. Okay. So CD, that's like change directory, and then the
Yes.
/ is to this location.
Yes, that's correct. The one thing I will say is the / means the dot means here, from where I am right now.
Oh, yeah. That's confusing.
So
yeah.
from here /server. And by the way, this all of these directories, they are just like files and folders on your computer.
Right. Okay.
So this is just like a typing way to navigate them instead of like in a file explorer, you know,
Using the
when
mouse.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Okay, so now you're in the server. It's actually missing an instruction here.
Which I
So,
wouldn't know otherwise.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
here.
No, right. And you know, I think it can help when you have just like a project starter set, you know, when you have some starter code
Yeah.
that you can then iterate on instead of just starting from scratch. I think it can be hard to just start from scratch. So
Yeah.
type in npm init space -y. Okay, enter.
Some secret magical
Yeah.
code here. Some secret spell.
It is kind
That
of
I
like
don't
magic,
know.
isn't it? Like you have to know the incantations
Yeah. I
to
don't know.
input, you know.
Mhm.
Well, hopefully you'll learn some magic today.
Yes.
So anyways, what that just did is initialize your project. And I mean, at the end of the day, all it did is create this package.json file.
Okay.
Okay. The package.json file, for the most part, determines different ways that you can interact with your code and which dependencies you're using. Okay. And dependencies are basically other people's code that you just use in your code. Okay. So like there's plenty of these open source packages that are out there that you can use in your code without writing it like all the way from scratch.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what packages and dependencies are. And so in our case, we're going to be using Express and the OpenAI packages.
I see.
So you can go ahead and copy that command and run it in our server. So we're just installing these dependencies.
Okay. So it's installing these dependencies.
Yes. Now you can see it's in the list of dependencies here, and it actually installed those on your computer.
Okay, cool.
Okay, set up your OpenAI API key. I'll share mine with you, and then
Thank you.
And it says, okay, for local development, create a .env file. So let's do that here. Just type .env. Okay. Okay, so an environmental variable is something that contains certain important information for your code to use. So it'll be something that, you know, is configuration for your code, or it'll be some kind of secret that your code will use. So in our case, we're going to store this API key as an environmental variable. So it's not just like written out in our code. And this is just really a security best practice. And it makes it also easier to then change it, you know, if something goes wrong and you need to get a new API key. An API key is kind of like just a secret, you know, when you
like
make a request.
Key.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
Dungeon Master's key.
That's right. So when you go and make the request to OpenAI, which is going to generate the passage and questions for us, you're going to tell it your API key so that it knows that you're you and that it should generate stuff for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's here cool. we're gonna add it to this file, and let me go ahead and get you an API key from one of my projects. Okay, so we got the OpenAI key added here. Now we can go and do the other stuff that I was talking about with the server. Okay, why don't you go ahead and create a new file, server.js, and copy the code that I told you about. Yeah, right there. For the backend, you'll need to set up server.js. Okay.
Now what?
All right, let's keep scrolling down and see what else it said. So why don't you just now give it a response and just give it a summary of where you're at right now.
So now I have a basic UI and now what do I do? Oh, it's very happy for me. Update your server.js. Why? We need to make a smooth. Why do I need to make changes? I just gave it the code that it told me to use environmental variables and enable cores. What's cores? What's cores? I need to update my React app, and in this thing now I need to update the generate worksheet function to call my local server.
Wow.
Do I have a generate worksheet function? What's the generate worksheet function? And what's my local server?
Well, your local server is what's running on your computer. The React
host.
app is what's running on port 3000.
The React
but your
app.
Local server is actually not running right now at all.
Oh, right, because I haven't started it up.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Right.
So why don't we...
npm
look
start.
At that.
I love npm start. That's my favorite.
That's what we got.
I have 2 terminal windows now.
Yes.
So I already did this.
You
so
already
it's repeating
got...
stuff?
Well, hold on.
Should I keep going?
You did the npm start, but you got to do the node server.js. See, that's the piece that you're missing right now. Your server isn't running.
Okay. I see. So in
let's...
PowerShell, I have to say node server.js.
Yeah.
Now what did it do?
I don't know.
I don't know
That's
what
a
it
good
did.
question.
Okay. I said it. Good job.
So
I need to test my app.
Okay.
And I need...
Okay, so let me show you another feature of cursors, okay? You can highlight that error. Go ahead and select that whole error.
Oh, there's an error. Why wasn't it red?
Good question. All right. Now, see in the top right corner, it says add to chat, add to composer.
Well, what's a composer?
Don't worry about composer for now. Just add to chat.
Add to chat.
Yes.
Ah.
See, look at that.
That's fancy.
Now you can ask, I got this error when trying to start the server.
That's very helpful. When trying to start the server.
Yeah.
Okay. Enter.
All right.
Yeah, you should be sorry.
Okay, look at that. It says, it seems the error is due to changes in the OpenAI library, which is also another word for package or dependency. They're
Lots
just,
of words
yeah,
here.
they kind of mean the same thing.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's helpful to
So
know.
now what I want to show you is the ability for Cursor to use documentation. So why don't you go ahead and type @docs.
That's cool. I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah.
Docs.
Okay. Enter or, yep. And then look for OpenAI. Yes. Okay, great.
Oh, I'm like,
So you're giving
talking
Cursor
to
the
OpenAI.
context. You're telling Cursor, hey, look at this documentation.
Mhm.
And so why don't you tell it, here's the updated documentation. Please use it to revise the server.
It feels like I'm tagging it in a post.
Yes, it is exactly like that.
Like I'm giving a shout out.
It is
in
exactly
my Instagram
like that.
story.
Yeah, and what
to
Cursor
OpenAI.
Well, what Cursor will do is it'll follow that link
Mhm.
and it will use the relevant documentation to write better code for you.
Okay.
Okay, so
Use this documentation to write better code for me.
okay.
Well, Claude has a little bit of an attitude here.
Wow. Okay. Looks like Cursor forgot what it was doing. So let's just start a
Wait,
new
am I
chat.
talking to Claude or Cursor? Who are these people?
Let's
I'm
just
actually
start a
getting
new
kinda
chat.
Pissed.
There, new chat. All right.
Now it doesn't know who I am, right? It's not mad at me anymore.
It's using new context. And
Okay.
so one thing you'll see here is, see at the top here, it has the server.js.
Mm-hmm.
That means Cursor is using that as part of the context now when you make requests.
Okay.
So now why don't you try that documentation tagging again? Okay, so check this out. This is something that I love about Cursor. It's probably my favorite feature. Instead of copy pasting back and forth, like with ChatGPT, and then it says, the rest of your code here, you have this button over here, apply. So try to click that. Okay. So
Christmas.
So what is it doing here? Well, these are the changes that it's making to your code, and it's highlighting them for you.
Oh, that's really helpful. Yeah.
So it's showing you, it removed this and it added this instead.
Oh, I didn't know that it had removed that. Okay,
Yes, yes. Well, it hasn't done that yet.
Oh.
But
yeah,
you have a
it's
chance
highlighting.
to review the code, and then you can accept or reject the changes.
That's cool. Although I don't know by looking at it myself whether it's okay or not. Of course.
Sure. And that comes
I
with
don't-
practice, right? So for now, you can just press Control Enter, which will accept all of the changes.
You have to know the secret command.
Yeah, you have to know the secret command. Control Enter.
This kind of feels like kind of a club, like you have to know the secrets. Look at that.
All right. Great. Now let's try to run the server again. Back in the terminal. Okay, there you go.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I didn't know it was the last
All
one.
right.
Enter.
Okay.
It's an error.
Okay, so yes, we got another error. Why don't you copy that, add it to chat, and we'll troubleshoot it.
There's so much text. It's like boom.
All right, add to chat. And then, got this error or something like that. Yeah.
So now I need to update my code again.
Well, yeah, why don't you try to do that? Just hit the apply button.
Oh, right.
Well, that looks like it didn't really change anything. I mean, I know what the issue is, but I guess it's not really intuitive.
Oh, well, I have to put in my API key, right?
Yeah, well, the thing is, we have the API key in your .env file.
But it's not accessing it.
Yes, good intuition. And why is that? Well, that's because at no point are we actually setting it to be part of the environment. which is, we can just reject this change. So I'll just help you out on this one.
I reject it.
And why don't you just type something like my environmental variable is in the .env file, and how can I import it? Okay, see, it says you got to install .env. So let's run that command. You can copy that command, run it in the terminal.
It needs a new package.
That's right. That's right. So the .env is going to, that package is going to take the stuff from your .env file and make it a part of your actual environment. So then you'll be able to use it in the code. So commands you're going to want to run in the terminal. Code you're going to want to
Right.
add to your files. So go ahead and run that.
Oh, so now
Okay.
I'm installing this package.
Yeah, the .env package. That's
Okay.
right. And now we're going to want to use it, which is what is in the code that it updated. So why don't you click apply on that, on the code. Okay.
Okay.
Now you can press Control Enter and accept. All right. Okay, let's try to run the server again.
Aha.
Ta-da!
Booyah.
Okay, we got the server up and running. That's awesome.
That's all.
But you
it's
can't
gonna-
really see it.
That's all it's gonna do. It's just gonna say server running.
Yeah.
No like
Yeah.
big happy nothing.
No confetti.
No confetti or anything exciting. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's try this. Let's try this. Why don't you go to the UI and submit a question, and then we'll just see what happens. Yeah, why don't you put something in here and then
Do I need
generate
to
a
refresh?
worksheet? No, you shouldn't need to.
Okay. Okay. So somehow this could do something. Okay. Grade level 3. Topic Minecraft.
Okay, sure. All right. I don't think that pressing enter does anything on your website yet. Okay.
Whoa, what? How
All
did
right.
it do that? That's crazy. Because it's accessing the AI.
Well, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
it's because we're calling the OpenAI API to be able to generate this.
Mhm.
And presumably that's what's happening. Now, we should probably, we obviously want to refine how this looks, and we want to...
Make it a little longer.
Yeah, but it's also, third grade level reading, why don't you just try changing the grade level? Let's see if you do like 12th grade, like what is it going to do? And we're going to want it to probably, say something like it's loading.
Oh yeah, like have a little thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So now that we have something super basic working, we're really going to start to see the power of Cursor kick in, because we're going to be able to iterate on this code and ask it to make changes for us. And instead of copy pasting a bunch of different files into ChatGPT, you're going to be able to just, click that apply button and ask it for specific changes, tag the relevant files, and see what happens. So let's just recap everything that's happened so far. You have gotten a project started. You've set up your front end, which is the React application we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
You've set up the server. You have configured environmental variables. You've installed a bunch of packages, right? And I know that a lot of this stuff is like intimidating and confusing, doing it from scratch. And that's why, I wanted to help you kind of learn this stuff, right? And help guide you along the way. But once you've done it a number of times, you start to see this pattern kind of emerge, and you get more comfortable with it. You start to remember the commands, what's the terminal, what's the different files. But now we're at a place where you actually have some working code, and we're going to go ahead and iterate on this and make it look like a really nice website. So I'm going to share another technology with you. It's called Tailwind, and it helps to make everything just look really nice.
Like a tailwind, like. Whoosh.
Yes. Okay, so let's switch back to Cursor, and let's just we'll just start a new chat. We're kind of on a new phase here, and let's just try to make everything look a lot better. So why don't you type in something like, please use Tailwind to make this look much better. and tell me how to install it. So one thing I just noticed is that we made this request while we were looking at this server file. And so it's probably confused why we're trying to, do stuff with the UI.
Yeah.
So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're using Cursor. You want to make sure that you're targeting the right context. And in our case, we want to make this request actually while we're looking at app.js instead. So we'll just Control L, we'll just start a new chat, say the same thing for app.js.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's giving us some of these commands, and I guess you already know now where to run these.
I think so.
Prove it. Okay, well, so these are things that you would run in the terminal. So let's open another terminal window, because here we have the UI running. Here we have the server running. Here we're just going to make random commands. We're going to install packages.
Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Just install packages for fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So CD into the UI. All right. And in here, let's go ahead and install those packages that it's telling you about.
Bash. Package 1.
Oh, actually, look, it says you can run it. Let's try that.
We can run it.
Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, just click that. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty nice.
That's pretty nice. Yeah, that's cool.
And let's run the next command as well, which is going to set up our Tailwind in our project.
That's nice that it reduces a step there for me.
Yeah.
Because copy pasting is annoying.
Totally. Okay. And then we got update the Tailwind config.js file to include the source files. Okay. So let's go to... Here's a shortcut that I like to use. This is in VS Code as well as Cursor. You can, when you're focused on the main window, do Control P, and then you can start typing here to go to the relevant file that you're looking for. So in our case, Tailwind. Okay, and press Enter.
Oh.
See, now we're in that file.
Nice. Okay.
Okay. Now you can apply those changes that it's telling you about.
Right, because we have to be in the... You can...
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, just continue. Okay, it added that. So you can go ahead and accept that change. You can either click on that or...
Is it Control Enter?
That's right. Yeah.
The secret
Very nice.
button.
Okay, great. Now let's scroll down. What's step number 4 on the chat? All right. In your source index.css file, add these lines. In fact, you know what you can do? You can click on the name of the file right there, and it will take you to that file.
Oh, really?
On the name of the file at the top. Yeah, right there.
Oh, that's convenient.
Now you can apply these changes here.
That's super convenient. That's cool.
And then Control Enter. All right. And then you can kind of keep going like that. So then, click on the name of the file, apply. There's actually no changes here, so it's fine.
So I can actually say accept here too, right?
I guess. I don't know what that does.
Should I try it?
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead. Yeah, go to app.js. Yeah, click that, apply. And this is kind of the flow that I get into with Cursor.
This is cool.
Yeah. Let's see what changes it made there. Well, I guess it's changing a lot here, which is fine. So go ahead and accept that.
Do it the cool way.
Cool. Now let's just see. Now I just want to show you the way that Tailwind works, okay, is that it applies styles to different parts of your page. HTML defines what's on your page, and then the CSS styles define how that appears. But how do you apply those styles to those tags? Well, there's multiple ways to do it, but a very good practice, and the one that Tailwind takes advantage of, is to use class names. So essentially, if you look over here, we got these HTML elements, and then we have these class names. And here it says, text to Excel, font bold, MB4, which is a shorthand for something. But my point is, these are all Tailwind classes, which will apply certain styles to these elements.
Okay. Cool.
And so that's what it's done. We've installed Tailwind, and now it's filled up, our HTML here with all of these classes. So it should look nice. Let's go ahead and flip back over and see what it looks like. One application. That's right. Look at that. That looks much better, doesn't it?
That does. That is amazing.
All right. Why don't you try it out? Why don't you...
Oh, and this is because of Whirlwind.
Tailwind.
Right, Tailwind.
Dude, that's a pretty good UI framework name right there. All right, let's try it out. Why don't you input something in here and we'll generate a worksheet.
Really nice. Okay.
Okay, so one thing that I'm noticing here is like when you click the button, like nothing happens, right?
Yeah, this is kind of rude.
That's kind of confusing from like an end user perspective.
Yeah, I'm like,
and now it doesn't even seem like anything is happening. Let's try to troubleshoot this. And the way that I like to start is by taking a look at any requests that are being made from the UI to the server. So if you right click and go to inspect, all right. Now this is the code that's running on the browser side. This is the client side code that you've written. If you go to the network tab up at the top, now just put this a little to the side and let's click the button again. Sure, that's fine. Okay, generate worksheet. Okay, look at that. We got a 404 error. So if we look here, it'll tell us what happened. Why don't you just say when I press the button?
Yeah, when I press the button,
nothing happens, right? Okay, so what it's doing here, it looks like it added some error logging, and this is going to make it so that when you go in the UI, it'll help you troubleshoot it. But since we already kind of figured out, why don't you just say, I'm getting a 404 error. And then I would say dash, the server is running on localhost 3000. Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and apply those changes? Oh, looks like it also added some loading handling. Look at that.
Oh, that's cool.
That's kind of cool.
That's nice.
So you can press Control. Oh, look at that. It accepted it all. So there was a UI way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, cool. So let's see if that does the trick. Oh, and by the way, notice that in the code that it wrote, it has stuff like ... existing state variables ... rest of the component remains the same, right? When you're working with ChatGPT, like you have to deal with that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like you would have to paste this and then like figure out what this means and paste that, but it just applied it. Like you didn't have to worry about it.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So why don't you flip back to the UI and let's see. Okay, let's generate a worksheet here. Okay, so it's not really. Hold on, don't click it again. I think it takes a minute to like try to.
But it's not saying it's loading or anything.
Yeah. So we'll want to add that functionality. Okay, let's do inspect again and see if at the bottom. Network. Okay, I think I know what the problem is. Yeah. Okay, so if we look at the logs here, this is
wow.
We're getting a bunch of errors, and what this amounts to is it says there's this cores thing. Okay, basically you just need another package to get past this issue. And it's something that you run into when you're creating new projects and you install the package and it fixes it and you just don't have to worry about it.
Wow, okay.
There's some deeper, security stuff surrounding that, but at the end of the day, like you can just install a package and fix it. Okay, so why don't you copy that error and let's go back to Cursor. Okay. Yeah, let's make a new chat. And yeah, paste the error.
Well, you have to refresh the chat a lot more than I would think.
And then you can say, please
this.
add cores. Okay, great. You can go ahead and apply those changes.
Well, yeah, I didn't even know cores was something to add. So
right.
That's like,
and it's one of those
so
literally
confusing.
like gotcha for no reason, pretty much.
Yeah.
Things. So anyway, yeah, you can go ahead and accept that.
Control Enter.
All right, and then scroll down because you're also going to need to install that package. There we go. Great. Oh, you know what? Also, when you run a JS file with Node.js like this, it doesn't refresh when you make file changes. So that's another gotcha. So this isn't going to work either until we restart the server, which is why I like to use this thing called NodeMon, which will monitor your files, and then it will automatically refresh the server for you.
That's cool.
But let's see, what is it upset about? Cannot find module cores. Did we install it in the wrong place?
It's very upset today.
Okay, there we go. Now we got NodeMon and we got cores installed. Let's try this again.
We've installed cores. So hopefully it will work.
Okay, well, we're not seeing any errors. And there we go.
Whoa, cool. Generated worksheet.
Okay.
Passage.
Now, I generated a worksheet, but these look pretty bad.
Yeah. That's awful. The passage is shorter than the questions.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
So we're definitely gonna wanna get that fixed up. But hey, it looks nice.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it
like
does.
Visually speaking.
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
Should probably have like a little loading symbol or something.
Okay.
But
right. So remember we were using OpenAI, right, to generate this.
Yeah.
And if we go back, that's all a part of this server code.
Right.
So we can actually take a look at what are we asking OpenAI to do here. And you know, this is a good moment to kind of zoom into the code because now we're like customizing things, right? So in this case, this is what we're saying to the OpenAI API. And think of that as like when you type a message to ChatGPT.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the message that we are sending. Generate a short reading passage suitable for grade. Then we're specifying what we said.
Right.
Students about topic. Then create 5 reading comprehension questions based on the passage. That's what we're asking it to do.
So we could change that?
Yeah.
Say?
Yeah, we could change that, right? And we could tell it how long we want it to be or you know, whatever. But I notice a couple of things here. And again, this is as somebody who works with these APIs, right? And that's just I'll help you make life easier. The model it's using here is an old model.
Oh,
3.5 turbo is old.
Yeah.
The best one, I think, for you right now, well, if you're going to just use this for yourself, then you might as well just use like, you know, a good model, like probably 4.0 is the best one. But if you want to use it if you want to deploy it for a lot of people to use, and I think this model is good enough for it, is a 4.0 mini. Again, you just got to sort of like, if you're building AI kind of apps, if you stay on top of the different models, you can figure out like which models are the best ones to use. And since I use them all the time, I just know. So let's just switch it to 4.0. Let's do mini because mini is actually faster.
Mini wasn't very good at running Minecraft commands. Though.
Uh-oh. Well, maybe it's a little better at reading comprehension. And then we got also this max tokens. Let's just comment that out. So you can just control /. And just as a reminder, comments in code is just text that's there for you to read, but it's not actually going to do anything.
Right. Yeah,
So
I knew about the // but I didn't know that you could do the control / to do
Yeah.
thing. That's cool.
Yeah, so let's go back to the UI and push that button once more. And if you were paying attention to the terminal, it actually restarted our server.
Oh,
the
because
node
of that
mon thing.
node mon.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That is underwhelming. Passage. Dogs are loyal companions. Okay, I don't think it understands what we
Yeah, I might need to reword
want
my
to
prompt.
do. Well, actually, look at this.
Uh-huh.
Look at this. The way that it's showing in our UI, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like it's got this passage thing, and then if you read this is actually the passage.
Yeah, why is
And
it
then it
doing
has comprehension
that?
questions like that.
What? Yeah, oh right, it has the double,
Yeah.
Well, that's weird. I wonder why it's doing that.
So this is where, we want to start thinking about how we are structuring these responses, and then how are we displaying them in this UI.
Okay.
Right? So it comes down to data structure.
Yeah.
Right? Okay? Because this text, we could just send the whole thing as one big message, right? With all of this info. Or we could decide to structure it. And let's say we represent it as an object that has a passage and a list of questions. And then, depending on the values for those fields, we would display it in a certain way. All right, so let's go back to Cursor, and I'll give you an idea for a prompt that you can write for this. Let's start a new chat. All right. And why don't you just describe the issue that you're seeing?
Okay.
So I would say, please make the AI prompt structured to make the difference between the passage and the questions clear.
I see.
Okay. And now I'm going to show you another thing that's really cool about Cursor, because see, we're talking about the server right now. But you want to make changes here, and then depending on the response, because it's going to give you a more structured response, you're going to also want to make changes on your UI React code.
Oh, okay.
Right? So why don't you also say, please also make the changes in the UI to use the structure. And then you want to tag the file. So you can do app.js. So you can, enter. Now you've just attached that file as well to the context.
Whoa.
So you'll see that it's going to modify both your server and the UI code.
Cool. Okay. That's really neat. Yeah.
So let's try to run that and see what it does.
And I see you kind of made it more like, instead of saying just what the problem was, sort of saying what we want it to do.
Yes.
To fix the problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of just being like kind of a victim, like, this is what's happening to me. Tell it what you want differently.
Yeah. The more you can prescribe a solution, the more effective it'll be in like generating the solution. Okay. So that's not the best structure, and I just know that from my experience.
I wouldn't know that,
because here it's just using a text kind of based structure. Let's follow up and tell it, use JSON without the A, JSON, to structure the prompt and parsing. Okay, so JSON is a data format.
Right.
And remember how I was describing, like, we have a passage and then a list of questions? Well, JSON allows you to express objects in that way, in a structured way, so that it's perfectly predictable. It's not just like, well, it might say questions, or it might say question list, or, it might be in lowercase, and maybe there's a colon after, or maybe there's a couple of new lines, right? Like as humans, we think of that structure as being enough sometimes, because we can just kind of openly interpret that. But JSON is going to make it like very, very tight and precise, and your program's going to expect it to be that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So let's just say that, and yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. See, so it's giving in the prompt that we're sending to OpenAI, it's giving it that JSON structure that it wants it to use. All right. Let's go ahead and accept that. You can apply. All right. Wait.
Oh, and it's
wait. Scroll
it?
down. Scroll down a little bit. On in the file, I just see that it. Okay. See that 4.0 mini thing? It's wrong there. We don't want to change the model. So here we can actually partially accept our changes. So let's accept the one at the top.
So we don't want to control enter.
Yeah, right. So let's just do a
line by
change
line.
by change. Yeah.
Okay, so you do the green one, I'm guessing.
Yep.
So do it.
And then for the next one, we don't want to change the model.
That's a no.
Mm-hmm.
So just no.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's deleting that comment. I guess it doesn't really matter. Okay, sure. That makes sense. So here, and by the way, when you're learning, this is a really great way to approach it, because you asked it to do something, and now you're looking line by line. You can start to try to figure out, what does that mean? Now you see it's, instead of doing this kind of split thing, it's doing JSON parse, right? You can kind of even hover over, and it'll tell you, like, what is that doing?
Right. Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
In certain cases, like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's accept that. We'll accept that. Great. Okay. Now go to the right and scroll down in your chat. There's the changes for your UI.
Oh, okay. And I can click this.
Yeah, you can click that and apply changes here. Okay, great. And hey, look, it added a little loading thing for you finally. I know that's been an annoying thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And looks like it already expects that JSON to be there. So I think this is fine. Yeah, let's go ahead and accept those changes. Okay. Let's try to generate the worksheet again.
Okay. So I can probably just do this now.
Yeah.
Do I need to refresh?
No.
Yay.
Oh, look at that. Yay.
Cool.
All right.
That looks better. Yeah, that
nice.
looks better already. Yeah.
That looks much better, right?
Yeah. Looks much better.
So we actually got the passage, and we got some questions. I think we're getting pretty close to like what you're looking for,
really
right?
Cool. Yeah.
I know one thing you mentioned is wanting to be able to print these out, right?
Yeah.
So why don't we add that new feature?
Okay.
All right, let's go back to Cursor. And this is a purely UI feature, right? Because like we don't have anything that we want to change from the perspective of, the AI prompts and interactions and how it's generating those questions, right? That's in the back end. So we don't need to involve our server at all here. So we can just start a new chat with app.js. Yep, there we go. You see it in the context there. And now you can give it your new feature that you wanted to build.
Okay.
See, and this is, now you're getting really in the flow of building the application, right? It's not like troubleshooting how to build something from scratch. That's where the power of Cursor really comes into play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to add a feature. Now I'd like to be able to print the worksheet.
Yeah.
Please.
And then what? Maybe how do you want that to work? Maybe add a button or something. Like you were saying earlier, right? The more you prescribe, the more it's going to meet your actual needs. So, for example, I'm thinking like there's
sometimes it's just hard to think about what I actually want it to do,
I
or like
know,
what
right?
to like look
Yes,
like
yes.
myself. Yeah.
100%. And you
Mhm.
know what? That's the thing that I think we're going to see more and more is that people will realize like not knowing how to code wasn't the thing holding me back.
Oh,
Not
right.
knowing what I actually want
Yeah,
is the
exactly.
thing holding
Right.
me back.
Yeah.
Because I realized that too. Like I start building apps and I'm like, man, I don't know how I want it to work. And that's what takes me the longest. Or worse yet, when I don't know what I want and I start prompting it and it starts generating code and I'm like, man, this isn't really like what I was thinking. I just get stuck. It always pays off to go back and just think through what you want. Like
Right.
most of your development time should be spent just thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, you've said that before. That's cool.
Yeah. So okay. So let's say, we want a button. I would also say we want it to look good on a standard page.
Yeah.
Right? Because like we don't want it to be some kind of thing like taking up, the middle half of the page and then like flowing over onto the next page, like all weird. We don't want to see the button, like the generation stuff at the top, right? So let's just explain. Let's just say, let's just try that and see what it does, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right. And again, it's taking into account all the context of the code, right? So you didn't have to go.
That's cool.
Pasting it back and forth.
And knowing exactly what folder.
Yeah.
And it's just so convenient that you can just click here to go to the, the folder.
Totally. All right. You're on that file now, so you should be able to apply.
Okay. And you don't have to copy paste. That's so cool.
Right. Okay. Well, it's making some changes. We can have a quick look through them. Okay, there's some kind of handle print. Okay, there's some other stuff. Let's just accept it and we'll see what it looks like. Okay. All right. And I think that's it always adds these explanations. So if you're learning on your own, it helps to read this. Then you'll understand why it's doing that.
Yeah.
But since we're working together, we can skip it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and flip over to the UI. Okay. Why do you think that might be happening?
I'm not sure, honestly. I'm just
all right. Well,
feeling blocked, but I could also copy paste this into.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's just copy paste that. Yeah, that's perfect. That's like a perfect prompt. Yeah. All right, check it out. There it is. It's another
package. Wow. Yeah.
There you go.
Gotta install your packages.
That's right. Okay, cool. So you can go ahead and do that.
And I can just say apply.
Well, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Right now, like it should say run, but it's not showing up. I think you're gonna have to copy paste it in here. Okay, cool. Let's go back to the UI and see if that did it.
Okay.
All right.
Aha.
Okay. All right. Cool. Let's try it out. Let's print it.
Oh yeah, that looks nice. Nice and simple. I like how it's green.
Let's see. Well, that's not doing anything. Okay, so let's go back and...
Cursor, we have a problem.
Yep. Okay, so this is it. Is this the same chat? Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, you can keep talking in this chat. I always like to think about what is the context of, where I'm working in.
Like that it's an app.js?
Yeah. It's talking about app.js. We have the previous stuff talking about printing,
Okay, so thanks.
It's good. It actually, I feel like when you're nice to it, like it actually improves the quality.
I know. I actually enjoy talking to it like it's a conversation, like a real, I don't know.
No, totally.
Yeah.
I think that improves the quality of the responses. All right. Oh, I apologize for the oversight. Let's debug it. Okay. Well, let's apply the changes and we'll see what it's trying to do.
Does that look good?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's your code.
Yeah, I mean, I have to blindly.
It's your code.
Well, I have to blindly trust it. If you're not here,
Yeah.
I have to blindly
know.
trust.
I know. And sometimes you can get stuck in a loop, and there's very much a balance of like asking it for changes and then actually trying to understand what the code does yourself, which is difficult for somebody who's still learning, right? But sometimes you would need to make that jump and try to figure out why is the code working a certain way. Then you can again guide it to the better solution.
Right. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, let's just accept the changes and we'll see what happens if we click it now. I don't think it actually fixed anything, but I think it started logging things. See here? It's making these logs. So let's go back to the UI.
Yeah, that's why I like to work with the UI, because it's so obvious.
Yeah.
You can just like go back to the UI and check it.
Yeah.
And like see what happens.
Oh, totally. Totally. Okay, now before you click it, let's open up that inspect window again. And by the way, that's called Dev Tools. Yeah. So when you click inspect, this whole thing is called Dev Tools.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So right now we see some of these logs. I don't know if that's a problem or not, but why don't you click print worksheet and we'll see if there's any new logs that come up. And logs are just, they're not doing anything in the code. They're just a way to tell you as a developer, like what's happening in the code. Okay, so let's go back to that window where we were looking at. Okay, button clicked, worksheet ref is available, and then it prints those errors. So why don't you just copy paste all of that? Yeah, whatever, just enter. Just
enter.
Go for it. Yeah, it'll kind of know it. Okay, so it is modifying stuff. You're doing the troubleshooting for it. All right, let's try that. Okay, I guess. Okay, is there anything else down there?
It's just so weird sometimes because it's like literally like that's the code it gave me.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just sort of like you start to feel like it's just putting you into circles, especially if you don't know what's going on, because you're just like, okay, I put the stuff you said would work and now it's not working, and now you're going to tell me how to fix your code to make it work now.
Right.
Like I'm just supposed to keep trusting you. It sort of starts like when you have to blindly trust it like that because you don't really know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
That's like kind of a trust issue, sort of like you start to kind of be like, well, I'm trusting your code, but then now it's like not.
You just have to assume it's an imperfect actor, you know what I mean?
I guess so. And that's sort of, I think that's sometimes
it's like working with a person, you know what I mean? You're like, hey, can you put these reports together? And they're like, yeah, sure, here you go. And there's some problem in them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, interesting. I never thought about that like that before. Because I think sometimes AI sort of has this like kind of, it like kind of feels like it's supposed to be perfect or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like it's gonna be perfect. Yeah, I don't know. Like
that's why I think it's good to have these experiences now, while it's still relatively obvious that it does make mistakes. Because as it gets better, that's going to go away, but it won't go away completely. And then I think people will be even more confused when it does happen, and they'll be like, "What?"
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch back to the UI. See if that button works.
If it fixed its own code.
Yes. Nope. Still nothing. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So I have an idea of what's going on. And again, this is
when I would start to get very discouraged.
Yeah. So I know what I would probably how I would try to fix it now. But in your shoes, what I would try to do is maybe just say, this approach doesn't seem to be working. Can you try something totally different?
Oh, interesting. I never think of that. Yeah. Okay.
I'm actually curious how it will work. Let's see what it's taking a totally different approach. Yeah.
Let's try it. Just accept, I guess.
Sure. Okay, but let's look down here, because look, it says also something about now let's create a new file called printable worksheet.js in the same directory as app.js. So let's do that. Let's create a new file. Yeah, you can create the file printable worksheet.js. Copy paste or whatever. I already copied it, so you just paste it.
Oh, you did copy it. Okay.
All right, cool. Great. And you know what it's doing here, like it can be kind of confusing as a new person, but you know, when you have enough code that it's becoming this really long file, you can essentially break up your code into smaller pieces and have them be in these other files. So in this case, instead of just adding all of that code in here, it's just putting it in this other file, and then it's importing it into this one. And then it's going to use it over here. So this is basically the same thing as just having all of this code pasted in here.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
And that becomes really useful, especially if you want to reuse pieces of your code. All right, let's give that a try. Let's go to the UI and see if that worked.
Oh.
Okay.
It's doing something now.
Yeah. Hey, look at that.
That's much better.
That's much better. That looks real good, huh?
Yeah, maybe we don't want that stuff at the top.
Let's ask it to remove the title and the date from the top of
From the very top of the worksheet.
When printing. Yeah.
Jinx.
Okay, we'll use CSS to hide these elements. Yeah, I don't know if that'll work. It's doing some kind of creative approach here. Okay, we're making some progress.
Yeah, that's creative, I guess.
All right. But now we need to add some padding in there.
Oh, what?
Yay!
Developer magic. How did you do that? What?
I just asked it to add padding. So padding is the stuff, between the border and the...
Yes.
Yeah, and it did it. It did it.
What?
Yes. All right, there we go.
Oh my god.
I guess it took a little magic touch at the end there.
It did.
All right.
Looks
so
great. Okay.
Great. Now
That's
you got something that actually works, right? Let's
And
see
we
what
could-
happens if we change it to second grade.
Maybe we could
just for
have-
fun.
We could have a part 2.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Look at that. It's much simpler.
Oh yeah, that's
Right?
cool.
We
Nice.
can print it.
We can.
There you go.
I love
You can hand it out to the kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like that. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Way to
Yeah.
go. You built this.
Thank you. With a lot of help from a real life developer and AI.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, that's it. I guess thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.